Hello everyone, how are we all doing? Come on in, sit on down. It's Sunday, it's time for a truther therapy session. Yes, it's 9 p.m. here in the UK. It's still lovely and sunny, as you can see, the sun is still setting here. And I'm feeling very summery. I've got my floral shirt on. I've been out with the family, had a nice relaxing day, as you do. Today was not gym day, we'll call it a cheat day if anything else. And yeah, I'm happy, I'm calm, good mood, and I'm in the mood for a good show today because I do have a guest who will be joining me shortly. He is a regular on the channel, Christoper. He is the runner of a YouTube channel called BioCharisma, and it's a play on the word biochar. And Christoper is known as a man of many talents. He's been on the channel many times. He's even been on my art channel here. Discussing his work over on Understanding Creativity and kind of his backstory into how he got into being a builder of domes. And he's more than simply just an architect and a builder. He is truly an artist in what he does. And he has an incredible backstory, and if you haven't already, go and check it out on the other channel. But he's kind of like become like a staple regular on the channel just to talk back and forth about what's going on in the world and getting conspiratorial about things. He's very well entrenched in the Owen Benjamin Bertaria type world. Very good friends with Owen, and hopefully 6 degrees of separation. One day he'll get me in touch with Owen and maybe I can have him on the channel as well. But it is good to speak to Chris. He's always an enlightening talk. So what I need to do, because I unfortunately my Zoom account has ran out. I didn't renew it this year because I'm considering looking for like an alternative, so they might have a bit more of a higher definition as well. So I've not bothered to pay for another year. So unfortunately that does mean my meetings only last for 40 minutes before they get cut off. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring him on now while we're live to maximize that time talking to him. And then once we hit 40 minutes, I'll have a quick commercial break, just with my own commercial, and then we get back. We should have renewed the whole thing and we can go for another 40 minutes. So that's why I haven't got him with me just yet. But I am sending him the link to the show right now. And while we're waiting for Christoper to join us, I'll just talk with you guys. We'll say hello. We'll see who we've got here with us. We have Spirits and Truth. Wendy is here. Thanks for being here, Wendy. As always appreciate it to have the moderators and the hard work that you do. Sorry if I don't say it enough, but you are loved. You are appreciated. And we have Marta Carolina. Great to see you. Joy and bliss and love to you all from Ireland. It's glorious weather here. It's been a lovely day. Not a cloud in the sky, which is always for us nice to see, isn't it? What else do we have? We have JJ Hempcrete Bear. Good to see you. We have Creative Birth Rachel Elizabeth. Great to see you as well. We've got Joyful One. Always good to see you. We've got Dean Johnson. We got Tonya Motica. Tonya Motica, is that right? I apologize if what I just did there was incredibly offensive. I'm very bad at pronouncing foreign names. I always have been and always will be. Right, Christoper says he is in. Let's let him in. It's always good to see the people rolling in. Let me just check the live stats here, make sure we have no issues. You guys let me know if we have any frame rate problems. We did have some last episode, but I've got my fan blasting right here. You can't see it. Trying to keep the laptop cool, but if any jitteriness or lagging starts to happen, just let me know in the chat and I'll do everything I can to mitigate that problem. But let's get Christoper here. Where is he? We'll admit. And I've got my headphone in. Hopefully he'll come through on this one.
Hey, pasa.
Hi, Christoper. Right, give me 1 second. Share the screen. The guys can see you. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. It's good to see you.
It is. It's been... How long's it been, actually? It's been... I think you were on like episode like 119 or something last time we spoke. What's that, 20 episodes ago or something?
You're like at episode 3 billion right now?
I think this is 138 or something. I don't know. I lose track. I'm making it up as I go along. I'm winging this whole operation. There is no standards whatsoever. But it's going well. It's going well.
All right. How's the heat over there? Are you guys melting?
Yeah, it hit 39 degrees Celsius where I am today, or at least it did in the car. Everything was red hot. I couldn't touch the steering wheel or the gear stick without burning my hand because for some reason everything has metal trim on it in UK cars. But it's nice. Obviously, with my complexion, I try and avoid the sun as much as possible, to be honest. But,
it might reflect off your skin and hurt somebody.
Exactly, exactly. Although I have gone from a shade of deathly white to slightly rose pink, so that's as close to a tan I'm going to get this year, I think, and I'm quite
Yeah.
happy with it.
You should have a shirt that says "I wear pink well." That'd be perfect.
Thing is, to be honest, I've tried wearing pink. It doesn't work. I look naked.
Yeah.
It blends in so well with everything else.
Paul, put your clothes on. Put your clothes on,
No,
Paul.
that did happen. There is an episode where I was wearing a something pink. I can't remember what it was. It's a t-shirt or a shirt or something like that. And people genuinely kept saying I thought Paul was naked, and I had like multiple comments saying that, and they thought I was just like, oh, why's Paul got his like he's just like wearing a shirt with nothing underneath. What's he doing?
Oh, that's hilarious.
So it's a
Miami Vice,
mistake.
Miami Vice style. That'd be great.
Exactly. So I've learned to avoid pink. Unfortunately, that's just one of those harsh lessons in life that you have to learn. But anyway, that's enough about me and my color palette. How have you been? What have you been up to?
Man, building the biochar business. Since last we talked, I've had like a massive like surge in that business where it's pretty much going to be my life. It's going to be my life's work. It's being very well received. We're in product development right now, where our next product that we're putting out is an incredible. I mean, it's going to solve a lot of problems that modern agriculture has caused. So, we're I'm going up to Iowa next month. I'm going to go speak to the new governor of Iowa, that legislature. Then I have a possible meeting with Georgia's legislature, a possible meeting with the legislature down in New Mexico. So there's like all these moving parts, but it's at like it. I don't know if you've ever had to scale a business. It's not anything I've ever had to do. So it's all kind of, even though I'm in the cut, like I know all about biochar, what I don't know about is how to scale to a level to meet demand. And so I'm really lucky that I have a good team around me, and just treading water right now, like trying to get all of our products in line. We're doing field tests for winter crops, and when those results come out, I think we're really going to be off to the races.
Well, here's your chance to give yourself some free advertising to my audience. You want to maybe explain to the guys who might not know just exactly what biochar is and why it's so amazing and why they should definitely go to your website and buy themselves some. Go ahead.
Biochar, especially our biochar, because I can attest to this. Like before I ever made biochar, before I ever made it at scale, I was teaching people how to make it. So I'm just some schmuck that lived in the jungle of Costa Rica that had no soil because the jungle doesn't have any soil. So I learned this system after seeing what the Amazonians did called terra preta. I figured out how they did it, and I just recreated it with a modern twist with what I call a rocket retort. And so I've been making my own biochar with my hands in the dirt literally for 15 years. And the reason why it's so effective is because it's crystallized carbon. And crystallized carbon, like pretty much anything that grows, all the biomass that you see outside, anything that grows is primarily comprised of carbon. The problem that we have is in our soil, we have very little carbon left because of modern farming practices, trying to farm in areas that shouldn't be farmed. Where you are in England, they have excellent soil. At least you
Mm.
used to. The British Isles is known for having some very, very wonderful soil, mainly because of the moisture and the carbon content that you guys have over there. But for most of the world, like in the United States, with all the practices of these massive farms, the chemicals that are being used have broken a lot of the biological processes in the soil. So what occurs when the biology goes away, the carbon disappears. The carbon goes up into the air.
Mm.
So after reading the white papers of Agenda 21, it was very obvious to me that they were demonizing carbon. This is in 2010. And when they were demonizing carbon, I took an affront to that because I was being paid as a permaculture consultant to find people farms in Central America. And the number one thing I was seeing was that there wasn't carbon in the soil. So I was like, okay, they're talking CO2, but their implications were that carbon as a whole is bad. Therefore, humans are bad. All life is bad. And so
That's
I was
right.
like, oh, this is the scam. This is what they're doing is they're going to corner the market on carbon. They're going to make us pay for something that's God given. I'm going to go ahead and start making it because we all have leaves from our yard. We all have branches. We all have, like, if you live anywhere that has any type of nature, there's unlimited biomass. So I just decided to start making it myself so my own garden would flourish. And then I thought other people would be really into it, making their own biochar. And there's only like 10 of us out there that like to make it ourselves.
Mm.
And so this last year, meaning like November of 2025, I went big time. So it's not even big enough. Like right now, we're processing about 100 tons of biomass a week.
Wow.
And so 100 tons of biomass gives us about 80 cubic yards to you. It'd be a little less than a cubic meter of biochar a week. And that's barely touching what we need to make. Like next year with a couple of the products that we're going to bring online, we're going to need it in the millions of pounds. That's where we're at. And one of the reasons why it's so incredibly good for your garden is one, there's two things that all of the most recent science is showing is that number one, it structures water better than anything. So everybody's heard of like carbon filters. Well, the problem is a lot of the water that falls out of the sky these days is tainted. It has a bunch of, let's just say na- particulates that aren't natural. Well,
Mhm.
biochar is incredible because it's diamagnetic, and it's so diamagnetic that it will pull into itself anything that's positively charged. Well, anything that's positively charged is actually non-beneficial for you or the biology of the soil. So when the biochar absorbs that, it not only absorbs it, it locks it. It makes it inert. And that's an amazing thing. So it
Yeah.
acts as a water filter, is like also acts as this house for like the microbes to proliferate. And the third thing that it does better than anything out there, and we're testing with paint companies and things like this right now, is it blocks EMFs, non-native EMFs. So in the electromagnetic frequencies that are being bombarding our biology are also bombarding all of nature's biology. And it's really like 5G towers and 6G towers, they're essentially just like a constant microwave. And microwaves, if you ever want to disinfect the sponge at your sink, just throw that sponge in your microwave and microwave it for, 15 seconds. And there'll be no bacteria left in it. Well, imagine what that's doing to the landscape. So what what biochar does is it reflects it because at its core it's like all these like micro diamonds. I have pictures of that on my Instagram of like the micro diamonds. And those micro diamonds essentially just reflect the microwave frequencies. So those three things are really showing to make a very safe environment. It's like in the Maslow's hierarchy of needs of soil. It needs to be safe, it needs to be hydrated, and it needs to have something that has a carrying capacity. So that's what our biochar does.
Fantastic. And they can buy this from you, and I guess you just mix it with your own soil, and it
Mhm.
just basically boosts anything you want to grow tenfold, and also clearly changes the environment into a place that's more conducive to a healthier, happier, longer life. Is that
Yeah.
basically what we could say?
Yeah, one of our partner farms, they went from having 4,000 tomato plants to produce X amount of tomatoes. They went from 4,000 to 400 to produce the same amount of tomatoes. So that's 1/10 the amount of tomato plants to produce the same pounds.
Incredible.
Of tomatoes. And that they also use electroculture. They use
Hmm.
best practices. We can never forget best practices, in anything. But I mean, the results that we're getting, and Paul, you'll laugh at this. You know who our biggest consumer of this stuff is?
I wouldn't know. Go on, fill me in.
Chicken farms.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because you'll be amazed. The biochar, when it enters a chicken's gullet, it disinfects. Like if you were to get toxic shock and you were going to go to the hospital and it was something that you ate, the very first thing that they would give you is activated carbon.
Yeah.
Activated carbon is the same thing as biochar.
Yeah, I've got some
So,
of them downstairs in a little capsule.
yeah,
I've got some
exactly.
myself. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
That's
Oh.
micronized biochar. Well, when the chickens eat that, it goes in there and it totally works on their gut. So
Hmm.
they have a lot less parasite load. They get bigger faster. They have next to no, like all the ones that are egg layers, the eggshell is stiffer. Like I was actually, I kind of got into it with my neighbor this morning because I got eggs and I was like, the last couple of times I got eggs from you, the eggs are like really, the shells are really soft in the yolk isn't as orange as it used to. She told me that they changed their protocol. They're not using the biochar. They went to like this GMO stuff, and I was like, it was literally poison. I couldn't finish the eggs
Mm,
because they
not
didn't
good.
taste right, they didn't feel right, and I knew like something was wrong. And I was like, huh, this is really weird. So what we're seeing in a lot of these chicken farms, especially ones that are trying to be, when I say trying, they are organic farms that are, I'm not talking about massive chicken farms. I'm talking maybe at the most like a 250,000 chickens. These farms, they have terrible disease problems. Part of the reason why they have to give them so much chemical is because it's just not natural to have so many chickens near each other. Even if
Hmm.
they're doing free range, even if they're moving them, and doing all the things, nothing alive likes to be packed in like that. And
Hmm.
so with our biochar, putting it in their feed, it's just making them so much more healthy. They're having a higher survival rate and it's allowing the chickens to come to market much quicker. Like if you can get your chickens to come like 10 days to 14 days earlier than normal at their sailing weight, during the year, that's like 5 or 6 more turns that you get. And so all these chicken farms are going ape for us. And then at the same time, they're able to sell the chicken manure so much faster because usually they say chicken manure is very hot, meaning you can't use it. It has to mellow for 3 months. With the biochar mixed in, it mellows in 1 month. So they can just move so much more product. And so it pays for the biochar itself. It's great.
It's kind of funny, isn't it? That simple understanding that carbon-based life forms thrive when you give them more carbon. Who would have thought such a thing? It's a kind of a shame our own what would you call them? The people running the human farm that we're all currently a part of aren't feeding their own animals carbon, shall we say?
Well,
That's how
at the top they
yeah,
are. At the top they are.
yeah,
I really think the vampires of the world, they are eating really good carbon, if you know what I mean. It's
yeah, I
just
bet.
it's pretty much all the middle to lower class from their perspective. This is like pretty new. Like I don't know what the policy is like over in England, but in the United States, there's actually an incredible amount of funding available for biochar. Like it's very apparent that the U.S. government wants people who know how to do this to do it. Like
Mhm.
it's not one of these things where they're like poo-pooing it at all. Like for me to have an audience within 8 or 9 months of, going online with my biochar, to have an audience with 3 different legislatures of 3 different states. The only reason why that's happening is because there's federal money available.
Mhm.
The story is good, but if those constituents didn't actually see the federal money available, they wouldn't touch it, right?
Mhm.
So at least over here, there is with this current administration, they're trying to bring, they're doing like they call it the Texas two-step. Like Trump, at the same time, he goes, oh yeah, we're gonna add glyphosate production. We're gonna, pump up glyphosate production in the United States, which isn't the best thing to do.
Mm.
At the same time, that administration is also funding people like me. If I ever get their grants, like I've only applied for grants, I haven't gotten any yet. But it's just nice to know that the money is available. Like that's something like in other countries, I don't know. I don't know if there is like governmental money available.
I'm not sure. I think, like I said, British soil is very dark. It's very
Yes.
black. It's rich in carbon, I think, just naturally. Even my own garden soil, which you get from the shop, which you just roll out onto a fresh new build property,
Mhm.
it's rich soil. We have bags of the stuff, and it is heavily enriched. It just
Mhm.
is. Our soil is just really black, like it just naturally is. That even anywhere you go in the UK, you dig. There's not much clay. It's not all
Mhm.
brown and thick. It's this layer of biochar everywhere.
Yeah.
And England is a very lush green land, the
Mhm.
green and pleasant land as it was called. And I think maybe that has something to do with some cataclysm where an immense heat destroyed everything at some point, and we're just a hot
Mhm.
spot for that. I don't know exactly why there's biochar just filming over certain areas of Europe, just layers of the stuff. But we're very lucky. I don't think farmers have much problem growing produce or
Mhm.
anything of the sorts, but I do think there's probably a lot of stringent red tape restrictions and control on farmers now to stop them being so productive. I do think that is happening. I think we have the opposite problem,
Yes.
where they don't want the people to be that prosperous and not dependent on government food chain sources. So
Mhm.
governments are trying to buy up farms, or at least making it more difficult for farmers to do what they can
Mhm.
do cost effective, and they're kind of squeezing them out of their own land and forcing them to sell. To what
Mhm.
end, I have no idea. I don't know what the government knows about farming exactly, but they're the ones who are trying to take over everything. And I assume this is going to end up being another famine that kills billions eventually. I assume that's where they're going with this. But I
Mhm.
think people in the UK, we're a very green thumb nation. Everyone has their own greenhouses and garden plots and is growing their own food one way or the other. So
Mhm.
even if the supply chain did suddenly break down, there will be local people and markets. And I think we just go back to a barter and trade system very quickly because people have their own resources. So I think that's probably the benefits of being a small island nation. I
Mhm.
imagine in America, it's very different. You have such a vast landscape of varying habitats and environments, no consistency whatsoever, and a very spread out population and
Mhm.
varying densities. And like I said, you just have it's just a different world. It's literally is a different part
Yeah.
of the world and a completely different landscape we're dealing with. But it sounds to me like you're doing very well. You're doing very
Yeah.
well for yourself.
It's kind of interesting for me on that point of England. England or the British Isles in and of themselves, especially the southern part of your country, I feel very akin to I'm 1/8 Welsh.
Oh yeah.
My great grandmother, I guess that's 1/16. My great grandmother on my mother's side was Welsh. And the little bit of time I spent over there in 2014, I went to the southern part of England to look at cob houses because
Mm-hmm.
I used to be a contractor that built cob houses. Like that was my other than building rocket mass heaters with clay and stone, I was also building cob down in the tropics. And we called it Bareke down there. But I wanted to go to southern England to see like the best cob in the world. Because you guys have some of these old houses that have walls that are like 2.5 feet thick, and then they have the thatch roof of the straw roofs. And to me,
Yeah.
that is the perfect, I mean, the perfect building type. If you have a lot of labor, like if you have people that don't have normal jobs and have good, strong back on them, that is the way you should build,
There's
especially
there's
in that
a
environment.
Yeah, well, there's not. I'm in the northwest,
Mm,
which is a lot wetter than the south. I'd say
mm.
much wetter. But even here, we do have a few. Even in my area, in my village, I have driven past a few, though rare. But even then, our houses primarily are solid red brick houses.
Nice.
Um, all of them are. Especially if you go to more the Victorian era, they're built with very tall ceilings, really solid houses that will last hundreds of years, really built to
Beautiful.
last. Unfortunately, the new builds that they're just whipping up really quickly through government incentives are not very good at
No.
all due to the housing crisis. Never mind the fact the unfettered mass million migration that's coming to our country. So, oh no, we've
Hmm.
got a housing crisis all of a sudden. There's not enough houses for everybody. I wonder how that happened. It wasn't because
Right.
it's not because we're having too many babies. I can tell you that much. But yeah, they're suddenly just whipping up like hundreds of thousands of houses through incentives. They're just throwing money at contractors. These contractors have zero reason to care about quality. It's just about pumping out as many as they can to get as much money as they can from these government grants. You know what I mean?
Well, you
And
can't
that
get quality materials. Like if you just do a
no,
renovation from one of these older homes that you're talking about, and you just feel the wood, like the old oak or whatever they built from, and you were to do a cross cut on it and see the fibers, and then you compare that to all the new wood that they're building with. Like the new wood is essentially paper mache.
yeah,
It's like
yeah.
you could blow on it. It literally, it'll just go down. Like now they
I
have
see.
real.
Isn't that a thing in America though? You do build wooden houses primarily. Your houses are basically just drywall and wood. That just seems to be a very
Well,
American
I
thing,
don't. Don't
Well,
offend.
oh,
Don't
sorry, yes,
don't offend a concrete mason in that way.
no, but our houses we do still build with brick. We don't have there's wooden struts here and there, but primarily it's brick and steel.
Great.
They're built to last through like heavy storms and rain and winds.
Hmm.
And they're great. They keep the heat in. They do last a while. I don't know how they'd fare under an earthquake because we don't really get earthquakes in the UK, to be honest. So they're kind of built for their environment. I suppose in America, because you do have so many natural disasters all the time,
Hmm.
why build expensive? Why build something that's expensive that could just be destroyed due to a natural disaster or a tornado at any time in a certain area? You want to build quick and cheap anyway because you can rebuild quick and cheap. So I kind of understand there's different reasonings, philosophies behind this, but it certainly makes in England for like a nice view. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like our houses really are blended well with the environment. Like all feel cozy while surrounded with trees in summer. You know what I mean? And there's
Hmm.
a lot of greenery everywhere, and we're kind of
Beautiful.
blessed in that. We are. It is beautiful. We're kind of blessed in that respect, but it doesn't mean the people running this place aren't pure evil and want to kill us all.
Right.
That doesn't stop any of those problems, unfortunately. But the British people, we do have a resolve about us. So I'm not too worried about that, to be honest. But
You
kind
know,
of kind of. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead. I'll let you
I
carry on.
was about to say, out of like when I, essentially sample things from different countries, I love how the Japanese refine things. I love how the Germans are very good at very large systems, but the English to this day are very inventive. Like there are probably six companies that out of England that manufacture things that are so unique, like so good and so unique. I just have this overall projection that there's still this. Whenever I see that level of innovation, I know that there's living men and women there. I'm not worried. It's only the places where there isn't innovation, like where there isn't like that spark, that God-given spark that I worry about. But England, I still see just through industry that you guys will be fine.
I think so. I do think so. I mean, we're losing our best slowly. They're probably going to start fleeing the ship soon as things get worse.
Hmm.
But I mean, I also think we're very proud people. I think the majority of us are like, we're not leaving. We're staying and fixing this. We have we have beheaded traitors in the past who have tried to rule us into hell. You know what I mean? I don't think the British people will take too much for too long before we say, right, that's it. I've had enough, and we just get up and we deal with the problem. I do think that will probably happen eventually, and I think the people who are doing these types of things to us are not prepared for the backlash they're going to cause upon themselves from the British people. It's just in our, it's just who we are. I mean, it was the British people who became revolutionaries who carved their own nation over there across the sea. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's just in us to be like that, and that innovation is just equally in America as it is in anywhere else, I would say. But Britain is like unfortunately right now, it's kind of like a shadow of its former self. But I think the browbeating is failing now, and I think most people in the UK have had enough. We're kind of like, we're sick of this. Absolutely sick of what's going on in our country, and the silent majority, they call them, are rising up and organizing. And I think the powers that be are very worried, and kind of pivoting here to what's going on in the world. We've had a lot of sweeping change happening in the UK in like just the last year alone, 2026. They tried to sneak digital ID in, and there was a massive backlash. It's like, I think like a 3 million signature petition was done to the government to tell them no,
wonderful,
screw you, and then they debated it in Parliament and kind of shelved it for a little bit, said, oh, we'll do this we'll revisit this in 2029. And then to try and get it through the back door, they basically said all children from now on will have to have digital ID as a register for homeschooling, or non-homeschooling children, and all children in school as well. That's going to register. So they kind of snuck it through the back door. But I think people are realizing like this is dodgy as hell. And as like a backlash to the don't home educate your children movement, people are going to start home educating their children. That's probably what's going to happen, because I know I am, and I think it's a lot more people are choosing that option. And then as time went on, trucked along, they've realized, well, we can't get the propaganda to the people anymore. There's no trust in media in the UK at all. Legacy media is like dead in the water. We have repeatedly gone against the public when they vote in certain people for policies and promises. We have gone against those promises and done the complete opposite for 10 years straight, and the media has been complicit in all of this. So no one trusts the media. But we can't have these new younger generations going online and learning the truth and not complying with our propaganda. So rather than rebuild trust in the legacy media, we're just going to force it on them instead. So they've got this thing now where they've done a social media ban in the UK. So I think anyone under the age of 16 cannot go on social media at all. It's completely blocked off and locked off for them.
Nothing to see here. Move along, folks.
And they're trying to force people into school. So you can't home educate by making it harder to home educate now, by putting more laws and restrictions in place and tests and hoops to jump through, and people coming to ask you questions and kind of always, hang on, we've got 10 minutes left of this before we've got to go to a commercial break. But like I said, they're pushing this idea of like, we need to get the next generation. We've lost this one. I think that's what the government's realised. The current older people are too sceptical of us, but the younger people, if we get them, they might be raised to be good citizens as we see it. So let's get them in the schools, pump them in, force them into the schools, and then limit where they get their information from by stopping social media. And then hopefully we can just indoctrinate them in the schools with no outside sources to kind of get in the way of our propaganda. And that's kind of where we are right now. That's what they're trying to do. And then they're implementing the next thing. You may have heard of this still over YouTube. YouTube is going to be forced by the British government to only show with priority over other videos legacy media sources like Sky News, BBC, and things like this. So when you go your feed on YouTube, I think maybe if this is you're a British citizen, you will be above everything else. When you search, you'll be given the mainstream source always first, right. And other commentators or non-official news sources will be at the bottom of the ranking, and will not be shown to people anymore over the BBC. That gets precedence. Now the irony is, look, you can put it in front of people, it doesn't mean they're going to watch. That doesn't change anything, but that's how desperate our government is right now to maintain order, because they know like a sleeping lion is waking up. They know like shit, like I think we overplayed our hand too much here now, and the people, we're losing control of the people. I do think that's happening. I think a powder keg is like been lit and people are getting very angry. So they're going for the kids. But the people know they're going for the kids. We know what they're doing. Nothing's sticking. It's kind of like, screw you. Like, we know what you're doing to us. So we're in a weird place. I think civil war's around the corner in the UK, personally. I don't know what that's going to look like. It'll be a mix between the patriots versus the liberal social justice types, but then also a religious Christian Muslim war. as well. It's going to be a really weird, and then the police state will be against the people, and it's just going to be this. It ain't gonna be. It's not going to be pretty if it gets that far. I don't think we can vote our way out of these problems. I really don't. I don't think so. I mean, I would love for that to be the case, but part of me deep down is thinking like, there's no way this can be solved with voting. Like, I don't know. Yeah.
What's the case with the EU right now? Like, what country is like leading the charge for the EU?
I think it's still Germany. I think Germany is based in Germany, and primarily, I think nationalists are getting a lot more influence in the European Union now. So every country appoints MEPs, so these are people who represent your country for European Parliament. Do you know what I mean? And usually people that get voted in to be MEPs are extremely Eurosceptics. Like, because the people vote them in who hate the European Union, they end up going over there. And I think a lot more of those people are now in the EU. And it seems like they are pushing to reverse a lot of the things the EU originally tried to do, which is bring in third world migration into the Europe. You know what I mean? A lot of that's now being saying, no, we're not letting the boats cross the Mediterranean anymore. We're shutting it down. And I think in many ways, the European Union is getting more right-wing, not by force, like the people have integrated into it and have started to try and take over it to make it more of a force for a positive, safer Europe, shall we say. But I don't know. I mean, the European Union was created as a means to control and break down borders and create more of a homogenous globalist style union where there's only a centralized government. You know what I mean? And there's no country. No such thing as a country. There's no such thing as a nation anymore, which is a peoples. There's just geographical locations that have a population. That's all it can be deemed as, and everyone's needs are the same and everyone's culture is irrelevant. That's kind of what they were always aiming for. I do think the European Union maybe is full of Eurosceptics now who have got themselves into these MEP positions, who are fighting against it from within. It does seem like it's a strange struggle and battle. But as long as people are under the European Union's laws and the human rights laws that they have by their standards, they are going to be subject to unfettered mass freedom and movement of people, which is going to dissolve their nation state. And I think a lot more countries will probably follow suit like Britain did. Now, Britain could leave the European Union because we're just richer than most other countries. We're not reliant upon them. We were doing the European Union a favour being a part of it. Do you know what I mean? Right. They were using us for money massively. Like they needed us, but we didn't need them. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Problem is, even though the public voted to leave, the leaders of our country didn't want to leave. They want to be a part of the bloc. They believe in the ideals of the globalist agenda. And they hate us for the fact that we voted to leave. So they punished us. And then next thing you know, when Boris Johnson got in 2020, around that time when COVID was happening, he brought 10 million people into our country.
Ugh, horrible.
As a bit of a fuck you for voting Brexit. You want Brexit, do you? Well, this is what you get. You know what I mean? It's like, now we can finally control our borders and choose who comes in. Well, let's bring in a lot of people from Eritrea and Somalia, shall we? You know what I mean? Rather than, maybe people from Poland or Romania, people with traditionalist Christian Catholic Orthodox values that can integrate really well. No, let's bring in Muslims from the third world instead. And I think that has to have been a move to punish the British people for choosing to leave. It has to have been just because I don't think the elites win all the time. But when they lose, they don't forget and they punish you for it. You know what I mean? It's a constant battle, a constant struggle. And we're kind of in the throes of it here in the UK. And right-wing nationalism is on the rise. Identitarianism, because we need our identity back. We need that Christian identity back. And I think there are probably bad actors looking to corral that down a bad path. I'm not saying it's wrong to be a nationalist and want an identity in a nation and to be proud of who you are and your roots. I'm not saying at all, but I think there are bad actors looking to lead those types of movements into war. I think there are. I think that's how, because I think they knew this would happen. I think they were expecting the rubber band to snap back the other way, and they're prepared for that. They're prepared for that eventuality, And I think civil war would be the result. I just don't know. I don't know about the rest of Europe. I'm not in the rest of Europe. I'm in an island nation just above the Isle of Europe. You know what I mean? The UK, we have a very different problems to the rest of Europe, but at the same time, there's a lot more that unites us than separates us. As the, and this is a phrase you don't really hear in America, the indigenous white people. You know what I mean?
No,
like,
don't hear that much.
No, you don't hear that in America, do you? But that's what it is here. That's kind of how it is. So, and again, this kind of rhetoric, the things I'm saying right now, this would have been well, it kind of is borderline illegal to say, but it's not really now because too many people are saying it. So, like, so the Overton window has shifted where we can now talk about these things because they can't stop it. It's too many people. Like, everyone's realized what's going on, and I think they're a bit scared, and that makes me a bit more worried because I understand. Because most people in the world think it's just bad politicians who are scared to lose their jobs or something, but we know it's a parasitical, satanic organization with the weapons of the world at their disposal, who are doing this to us, and I think we should not underestimate what they will do when cornered.
Right.
You know what I mean? We have to.
Well, the last time they were
that,
cornered was for real was COVID, wasn't it?
I'm not totally sure what was going on with COVID.
I know down in Central America, we were really aware of what was going on with the banks going direct because Central America is so broke. And when the banks went direct, that was essentially a decoupling from countries' legislation for money creation. And so when that happened, it was like, to me, like the big signal that business isn't as usual. We as banks, we like the International Monetary Fund, all of them were like, we're going to do our own thing now. And then bam, COVID hit. And so I'm wondering, because you guys have, the City of London in London, I'm wondering that as like sort of like a financial nexus, if that had anything to do with it. It says that we have less than a minute.
Yeah, so let's hold that question. We'll cover it after a quick commercial break where I need to send you a link and jump back on and do a fresh 40-minute call. So bear with me, everyone listening. I'm going to play you a quick advert for my book here. And Chris, you stick around. I'm going to send you another link to our chat on Instagram for a new call. So bear with me.
Are you tired of the same old conversations? Do you often find yourself struggling to know what to say? Are you over discussing the news, sports ball, or the weather? It's time to put boring discussions behind you by leaving a copy of The Nephilim Look Like Clowns on your coffee table, your toilet, your local library, mother's car, boss's office desk, or that person you really likes bed instead.
What the hell is this?
Oh, that? Why, it's just a book about how the modern costume of a clown is a caricature of ancient giants and modern demons.
Stay away from my children.
This is a conversation you can't wait to have.
My family used to think I was crazy, but thanks to The Nephilim Look Like Clowns, they know I'm crazy.
The Nephilim Looks Like Clowns. It's no laughing matter.
Okay, and we are back. Look at that timing. The advert ended and you came in perfect. So I nailed it. We've got another 40 minutes to go. So what were we saying? We're talking about did the banks or the financial market of the UK suffer greatly from COVID? Is that what we were basically saying?
Well, I framed it a little bit differently. Like what I was saying was, like you brought up, like you feel like civil war is being fomented. And what that triggers in my mind is like, okay, usually when that's going to happen, they have some big red herring that's thrown out there. In 2020, the massive red herring to the financial system was COVID. Like the financial system essentially in 2019, the big lenders, the easiest way I could say it is the people that create money were no longer beholden to any governmental policy. That's what going direct means. And I think in your country, people talk about the three-headed monster of like Washington, D.C., the City of London in London, and then Rome, Italy. They talk about that as being like or Vatican City, I think it is. That is the trifecta that kind of runs the world, if you believe in that theory. And to me, it was always that London, the city of London and London they were like the purse string pullers.
Hmm. I think a lot of transfer of wealth happened in COVID. Huge transfers of wealth. I think not only the money made through the fraudulent vaccine rollout that happened. I think property was also vastly shifted and moved out from the lower classes up to the higher classes, and even stolen from the middle classes in long-term results of this. Because you find, for some reason, there was a massive boom in property sales during COVID. Like an enormous boom. And they put it down to like, well, everyone wants to move into a bigger house because they're all crammed in smaller houses having to work from home now. Okay. And I'm like, I'm not so sure that's really it. I'm not so sure that's what's going on. Maybe to some extent, but you found the prices just went haywire. Like way above what they're worth for some reason.
Same in the States.
Yeah, and people were buying them at ridiculously reduced interest rates, like 1% interest rates, less than 1% interest rates. And so they was cheap to buy expensive properties. But I feel like it was a huge trap, like an enormous trap, because 5 years later now, everyone's foreclosing on their mortgages and losing their homes because the interest rates went way up to like 5, 6, 7%. And the house prices remain ridiculously high. So now nobody can afford to buy property anymore because they can't afford the mortgages. And all the house prices are unbelievably high because everyone bought all their properties at a stupidly high price and can't take lower offers because they owe too much to the banks. But no one can afford the repayments on these properties because after having to remortgage on their 5-year fixed, which is all coming up now, they can't afford the monthly payments. So everyone's losing their homes, and who's buying them? Well, banks are buying up all the properties. Do you know what I mean? So it's a slow burn, but we're seeing the end result of this now is that a lot of UK property is being bought up by private companies, building societies, and banks. And people don't know this, but like the highest owner of property in the UK is Lloyds Bank. It's a bank in the UK. Like they rent. Okay, they buy and rent back to the people. So it really is becoming a you will own nothing and be happy situation. I think that's what they're aiming for. Like property ownership is a thing of the past now. It's all going to be through rent only. And I think this is what I mean. These subtle transfers all happen behind the scenes. Like massive and then obviously there was a lot of inheritance taxes as well. A lot of people died, elderly people died during COVID too. Not just because they caught some nasty flu, but because they were basically it seems like they were purposely taken out. You know what I mean? But they have assets which were also then liquidated, and then the government took their shares of all those assets because of property inheritance tax and the rest of it, you know, leaving their very little inheritance to the next of kin. And I think just there was a lot of everyone's much poorer as a result, but corporations are not. They are significantly richer after COVID. Yes. Everybody lost, but the corporations. Do you know what I mean? Everybody. Not even governments lost. Governments did not lose. In fact, I think governments were just testing how much they could control people. I think they really were. I think they just went balls to the wall, full force of the state. You do what we say or else, and everyone capitulated. And now they know. Now they know they can do it and get away with it. The British public set a terrible precedent for the government. They've given the government proof positive that we will bend over and take it. You know what I mean? Like they know now. Like but I don't know. And maybe not because the long term.
They used to.
Yeah. Well, the long term effects of the jabs themselves are now coming to public knowledge. Yeah, it's not even hidden anymore. Mainstream science and official stories are now catching up to the fact that these things are very dangerous. Like people's DNA has changed significantly. Myocarditis, like heart problems, are through the roof in age brackets where they should not have these type of problems. Like people, like young people are dying
all those
of
soccer
like
players drop. Like, remember those videos of all those professional soccer players or football players just dropping all over the world?
oh yeah,
Like that.
I mean,
That was nuts.
I mean, I was just listening to Rupert Lowe on Joe Rogan. And I don't listen to Joe Rogan normally, but I'm interested in British politics, and I want to see what this guy's saying on these big international platforms like Joe Rogan, And they were talking about the COVID situation, and Joe Rogan was saying, even he was saying, like, we were forced to do some ridiculous things because of that, like the regulations. People complained that our desk wasn't wide enough, like, 'cause it's only 5 foot, and they were like being dobbed in. And he also said he doesn't believe that there's nobody out there that's not been damaged by those vaccines. Like, he knows tons of people.
I had 10 employees in Costa Rica, and they all were clamoring to get the shot, and 8 of them were vaccine damaged.
That's what I mean. Like, but that's coming out public knowledge now, and I think that has left like a stain.
But you want to hear the level of governmental propaganda? So check this out, okay? So at the time, they got the shot, and I had already moved back to the States. So I was flying down to Costa Rica every 6 weeks to manage my project down there. My guys, I knew that they were going to get the shot. But I came back, and everybody had like really like droopy eyes. Nobody was bright-eyed or bushy-tailed like normal. Like, usually every time I came back into town, I was like Santa Claus, because I had come back with all the Amazon stuff. And nobody was psyched to see me. And then I noticed like everybody had like these dark rings under their eyes. And then 2 of my guys, they had no use of their left arm. They would not tell me. Not a single one of those men would tell me it was the shot. A doctor friend of mine that worked on the community, because they were all from the same neighborhood, the same barrio, she had to tell me that they were all secretly going to go see her and not even telling their wives, because in Costa Rica, the propaganda was so strong that if you didn't get the shot, you were going to kill your grandma. You were going to kill somebody. So all these men, to the one of them, they wouldn't admit to me as their employer that the shot did anything to them, but literally, like, they would have a dead arm for months. They were all probably about, I'd say, 10 IQ points lower. Nobody was like I had a really snappy crew before, and they were all like really low. My mother and my stepfather, they lost all their balance. Like, after they got the shots, they had no balance. My mother fell and hurt herself. It was bad, man. The amount of vaccine injury. I mean, it was horrible to see that. These are people I really cared about. Yeah. And to this day, they would never even admit to me that it did anything, because in that culture, you don't kill grandma. You just don't do it.
It was the same here. Honestly, that was the same lie we were told. It's like, if you don't get vaccinated, you're killing old people. You don't want to kill old people, do you?
Right.
And then there were other people, like the what do you call them, like little Hitlers, and I mean like true fascists in the truest sense, who were given just a little bit of authority because the government said they can. And they were literally coming up to people who weren't wearing a mask and saying, you should be ashamed of yourself. You're putting everybody here in danger. Like, literally having these confrontations with people who wouldn't wear masks, like abusing them, calling them evil. You are evil. You are killing people because you do not wear a mask. And it's like, obviously, masks don't do anything. Everyone knows this. They're completely useless. Like, the science is obvious. That piece of cotton you put over your face is actually worse for you. It's killing you faster more than anything. It certainly doesn't stop small particulates from being inhaled. It does not protect you. You're an idiot. Like, that's the truth of the matter. But the propaganda was like, you're killing people if you do not get vaccinated and you do not wear a mask. And it was bad. It was really, really bad. People genuinely did believe that was the case. It's like, how does me being vaccinated protect you? Are you vaccinated? Well, fine, you're safe then. What are you worried about? Right? Surely by that logic, it's kind of like, you don't have to worry about me not being right. You are, but you're safe, you're protected, right? But it doesn't work like that because you have to go for repeated boosters and everything like that. And it's the cognitive dissonance of what they're dealing with. They truly didn't understand. And like you said, if anyone did get vaccine damaged, there's no way they would admit it was the vaccine, because that would mean they'd have to admit that they were complete and totally in the wrong for 3 years straight. You know what I mean? As they went around flexing a full authority over people because the government said they could. So you give, and the scary part of it for me was that realization that there is a not insignificant contingent within the UK. I don't know what the percentage is, but there are people in this country and probably in America and everywhere who will do the government's work on their behalf for free.
Yes, they will.
Because they want the authority. Yes. Like they are just waiting for permission to subjugate you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and they will take it because that's who they are. Like they need that authority. They need that power to give themselves a sense of identity and meaning. Like, and that was the scariest thing for me. Like I said, these little fascists is the only way to describe them, and they love it. They love that power, that temporary power. And these are people on the wrong side of history. Mm-hmm. These are the true people who are responsible for breaking up families and destroying people's lives. But they don't care. They don't have a conscience. Like, I think this is the problem, because there are so many narcissists and sociopaths in society. And normally, rule of law and the threat of punishment keeps them in line. Okay? They are animals who need the threat of punishment and strict laws in order to do the right thing. Okay? But as soon as you change that slightly and give them the opportunity to flex authority, they will take that. They will take it. You know what I mean? And that's scary. That's a scary thought when you really think about it. Like, so many of them mask off moment, no pun intended. You know, like they may have been wearing a mask, but the mask was truly off. Like weird time.
Well, it was one of those like very hard things for me to watch. My social equity just go away within my community because I wouldn't wear the mask. And so, I mean, literally, like the cognitive dissonance was so infuriating, like on two fronts for me. I'll be brief about this. One, in 2019, the entire country went on strike against the government for how corrupt it was. COVID hits in March of 2020, and they believe everything that corrupt government that they were striking against for 6 months. Like I had to pay my guys time off because it is in a socialist country. Like if you go to strike, you have to pay your guys to go strike. My guys were out the roads, and even all of us gringos were in the roads like, yeah, the government's corrupt. And like literally a few months after that, that same government is out there for you. And I was saying to them, I was like, guys, you know they're corrupt. They're not doing this for you. This is not in your best interest. Like, no. The TV says this. And the second thing was, my company was getting to a point where we were like excellent at painting. All the new buildings that we're building, we bought all this equipment. Well, when you're doing exterior spray painting of houses, you have to take all these different classes where you're learning about particulate matter. And you have these very special masks that you have to wear because of the size of the particles. And like 6 of my guys went to this training. And literally the masks that we had to wear in the tropics, it was very uncomfortable because it's hot and it's humid. So when you're wearing a mask on yourself outside in the hot tropics, you're sweating. It's terrible. So literally 6 of my guys had taken the courses as I did. We knew what particulate sizes we had to protect ourselves with. And these guys would wear a mask to work, that little diaper on the face. And I'm like, when we paint, we have to wear essentially this massive gas mask. The particulates that they're saying that cause all the things that they say it's causing are 6 times smaller than the smallest particle that our gas masks are protecting us from.
Mm-hmm.
You know this. Like, you know it. And
I know.
dude, they just cut it off. They just like, I'm like, why did I pay for all this training? Why did I pay for you guys to go on strike? Why did I do all of this stuff for you just to negate it the second some quasi authority tells you to negate it? Like, it was, as you could tell, I'm still charged by it, but
Well, yeah.
like, it was maddening, the level of insanity. And it all came down to this. When those men would go home, their wives were watching TV all day. And their wives would lean into them at night, say, Topher is the enemy. Topher isn't wearing a face mask. There's nothing that they could have said to their wives. Nothing. Not me being at their baby christening, not me, giving them loans, not doing profit sharing. None of that mattered. The fact that the TV said that he's not wearing the mask, he's the vector for the disease, was enough for me to lose all my social equity. I mean, it was brutal. Brutal. Especially with guys that knew better. They knew better. I wasn't dealing with people I didn't know.
No, I know. I think the problem is COVID was unlike anything we've ever seen before because it was so sudden, and very quickly the government shut things down. Right. And I don't think our generation, older generations maybe understand this. Maybe if there was anyone who still was around during World War II, for example, or the Cold War perhaps, would understand this fear or this understanding that society is fragile and can stop at any moment. But I don't think our the new us living today have really understood that concept until COVID happened. Just how quickly it can really fall apart and just how fragile everything truly is. And I think obviously it's planned fragility. Like, it could be stable and strong and withstand these type of things if our governments weren't purposefully foolish. Like, it's like, what do you call it? Where like they acted like they were completely incompetent the whole time, but really they weren't. They were very intelligent. They were pretending to be incompetent as they destroyed every nation that was under the thumb of this thing. You know what I mean? But I think everyone witnessing that traumatized them a little bit. And I think it's this like deep subconscious fear of the knowing of the fragility of civilization, that we're basically 3 meals away from collapse. Do you know what I mean? And I think when everything did suddenly just happen, I think people saw for the first time just how fragile it is, and they defaulted to the programming because that's what trauma is. And I think MK Ultra Mind Control, which was mastered throughout the 60s, I think it was implemented after the fact on the people through television and programming, and everyone in some way is MK Ultra'd with split personality disorder. And everybody has within them a default mode which has been programmed into them, which is triggered through events like COVID. And I bet there was many signs and symbols that have been predictively programmed into us that were flashed on all the medias during that time. Trigger words, phrases, what's the other one? Hands, face, space was one in the UK that they used to say, you know what I mean? And it's kind of, I'm sure all these things were probably pre-programmed trigger words to make that MK Ultra programming kick in so people become the robot they were supposed to be, and just get all logic out. Logic gone. All that training that you paid for, forgotten instantly, because there's like a way we need to be now. I've been trained for this subconsciously, you know. Now's the time to activate and go into COVID mode. And that's literally what it was like. These people we grew up with and our families became something else. It's like, who are you? Do you know what I mean? Like, who are you? You're like, I didn't know you had it in you to be like this type of stuff. You know what I mean? It's kind of, this is not the person I grew up with. Like, in many ways, it was family. It's like, for parents, like, this is not the child I raised, or these are not the parents who raised me. You know, it's kind of, they became something else. And I think it was MK Ultra programming activation of some kind.
So,
and and people defaulted and literally forgot who they were. And I think when civilization collapses, we are trained to default to being good, cohesive citizens that go along with the narrative. And as long as you do that, you will be safe, I think is what they're programmed to believe. So it's kind of, I know it's wrong and false, but I'm going to believe it anyway because it's in my best interest to maintain civilizational order. Because if we all go off on our own, civilization collapses, and I'm not willing to let that happen. That's what they think in their head.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? But obviously that's mind control. That's nonsense. People are more complex than that. And just because a government collapses doesn't mean a people have to collapse. A nation has to collapse because government is useless anyway. They're parasites. But the parasite has taught us to believe we need it to exist. And it's become this horrible situation where they can pull something like COVID and it works.
There's one thing that I noticed was common to every single person that was entrained with this MK Ultra programming. And there's probably other factors. This is just what I was aware of. They all had high definition TVs. Every single one of them. And right in that 2020 range, there was all these incentives, like all my friends down in Central America, my family in the United States, to get these new TVs, right? And I watched, so my mother was an RN for 45 years, and then she taught nursing. So she's in her 70s, right? So, she was taught old school. My stepfather was a surgeon and a doctor for 50 years, retired, everything like that. So when I supposedly got COVID and survived from it, they were kind of reluctant to let me and my wife come and stay with them when we were moving back to the States. We just needed a week or two to get our footing before I went to my job in Arkansas. And I said to them, I was like, look, I already got COVID. I survived it. So I have all the antibodies. Not that I believe in any of that, but I was just speaking their jargon.
Yeah, I get you.
And they were like, oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, if you've already had it and you have the antibodies, you're good. In 1 year from that lead up time to when the boosters came out and after the boosters, they completely flipped the rhetoric. If you had it, you no longer had the antibodies. So therefore, you actually needed the boosters. And Paul, it didn't matter that my stepfather was from Johns Hopkins, prestigious medical school. His entire practice, you're talking 50 years in the field. Oh, if they've already gotten sick by that, if they've already had the virus, then they have the antibodies. It took 1 year of entrainment on high definition TVs, where he literally did not remember any of that. He literally, the 50 years of his life experience was null and void. It was like, wait, the TV has entrained me to say this. I will say this. And I started to pick up on the vibration, because I'm kind of sensitive to people because of, my work and everything like that. A lot of times when I was talking to somebody who was entrained, they literally repeated the same exact thing. It's like, how they all show those cut-ups of newscasters? And they all say, safe and effective, safe and effective, safe and effective. My parents were doing that to me. My parents. They wouldn't see their little granddaughter who was new to this world because, And I was like, wait, what about the antibodies? We're throwing that out the window. The science says. Absurd.
I guess they don't know about terrain theory yet then.
No.
I guess I haven't really heard any of that. But, well, on this, and this is something, again, I'm not 100% I'm even allowed to talk about on YouTube because I have a video about this on Patreon, but I'm going to try and use vague language as much as possible to maybe try and beat the censors here, But the big, long metal pokey up sticks they've stuck all over the ground everywhere that emit extremely wavy, invisible, wobbly bits through the air. I don't feel like it's a coincidence that a lot of them were erected and activated around the same time everyone suddenly got sick. I think it was more likely everyone got radiated to death and got symptoms similar to radiation poisoning. Not everybody, but the weak and the vulnerable did.
Well,
and died, you know.
That's why the whole biochar thing, I know, like, I was in Costa when they flipped on the 5G tower right across the valley from me. It was 2 kilometers as a crow flies. There was only one big one that my farm had line of sight of. And I, quote unquote, got the cooties, right? And I knew, like, that's what it was. It was literally that. Like, all the things of shortness of breath, not being able to find my breath, the hallucinations, like loss of, smell, taste, all that. I had every symptom, and I was like tripping on fever balls for about 2.5 days. And I just kind of followed the pathway in my system. And so I never like freaked out. Like I was kind of lucky with that I had the wherewithal to kind of stay conscious of it. So I never went into hysteria around it. But I might have had 5 or 10% of my breath capacity.
It got bad for me. I had the glass in the lungs feeling.
Yes. Yes.
And it hit me worse than my wife. Because I'm an ex-smoker. I smoked for like 11, 13 years before getting it. You know what I mean? So for me, it was like I think my lungs were just damaged, and something happened, and it was horrible. It was really bad. It was. I'm not saying it was pleasant. Every inhale was agony, for like 2 weeks. But it's just the whole thing when you frame it through this lens that it's not tiny little disease particles being inhaled by people causing sickness, but it's in fact a environmental result of an activation of a specific thing which people will have violent reactions to, because it's the terrain that affects your body. It's not invisible, never proven to exist nanoparticles of diseases that don't even get isolated in labs, never mind anything else. You know what I mean? When you really get into the true science behind it, germ theory is just that. It's a theory. Right. It's never been proven, but we do know you react to radiation when it's in the environment. That's proven, so there's plenty of evidence for that. You get sick when there is a change in environment. Mold, for example. It's not even the mold that does it. It's other factors that involve when it reacts with certain chemicals inside your body. And that's usually what it is. It's chemical reaction that causes sickness. It's not this something that got leaked from a lab in Wuhan somewhere because a guy ate a bat or something like this, when you think about what people were doing to one another, social distancing, dobbing each other into the authorities, refusing to serve people, you know what I mean? Or like ostracizing them socially, making them socially anathema to society, you know what I mean? Like ruining people's lives, not letting them see their loved ones die in hospital, all the rest of it, you know what I mean? Like, and what people were really over a likely false belief system that doesn't even exist. Not knowing that all the time, it's more likely people pressed a switch and turned something on and everyone got sick. And now we have a huge cover story. Oh, an outbreak. It's a pandemic. And it's like when you get that kind of top-down view, the aerial view of the scenario of the battlefield and see the bigger picture, it's evil on like an incredibly terrifying level.
Yes.
And I'm talking here about the problems of the world and the conspiracy behind it all, what's really going on. And there's varying levels and degrees where you're allowed to even talk about this. And I'm not even sure what lines we've crossed today. I never know. But this is, I'm winging it, and we'll find out when I get a strike, probably. We'll see. Hang on, we're running out of time again. What have we got? I've got a minute left. Let's have another break. Okay, so bear that in mind. Hold on to that. We'll get back to it. I'll throw the ball back to you when we get back, but I'm going to take another quick commercial break. I'll play a book advert for you guys here, and I'll be back in about a minute and a half, so just bear with me, guys.
Are you?
In a world where 54% of Americans read below a 6th grade level.
Could you read this?
It's impossible. I just see his words everywhere.
One man wrote a book about the hidden truth behind clowns.
I finally finished it. Everything's going to be okay now.
Links down below to the Amazon.
But he was about to find out
Your primary market is the USA, and it ranks 36th in global literacy rates, with over 43 million adults unable to read or write.
getting the truth to people is no day at the circus.
You know, sometimes I wonder if I'm the real clown.
Nobody reads anymore.
Have you considered recording an audiobook?
You're going to get a sore throat.
You're serious about this, aren't you?
You don't understand. I have to do this. The people have to know.
That book will ruin everything.
I will not use AI to record this.
We can't let him reach them.
This is just something I need to do. I don't even like clowns. The end.
Now they can hide that they're completely illiterate. This is amazing.
This season, playing on rectangular devices with black screens near you. The Nephilim looked like clowns. The audiobook.
And we are back just in time, literally again. We've timed this perfectly. I don't know how we're doing this, honestly, but it's working out.
You're the
well.
man.
It seems like it. Yeah, well, I'm a computer technician after all. I can work for another podcast and do it for them. Anyway, we're back. We were
so
cooking.
Paul, I have some great guests for you. Over the last 8 months, I've become friends with two absolute, like, beyond, like, I've checked out pretty much all of their claims around electronic warfare in our biofield anatomy. One is Sabrina Wallace and the other one's Chris Crutchfield. What they've been sharing with me that's on point with what you're talking about, where somebody flipped a switch and people started acting a very, their physiology reacted one way, they flipped another switch, entrainment occurred. This is a massive, massive thing, is the biofield terrain. Essentially, as the story goes, and when you talk to them, I'm not going to bury the lead with it. They'll tell you a lot more about it. But around the same time that they got rid of the sanitariums and radium, switched everything over to the petrochemical model, which is what my company in agriculture is trying to fix that. Well, what they did to the land with petrochemicals, they did to humans with petrochemicals, saying everything is if this, then that. Everything is a chemistry level reaction, which we know just through sports science. Like, I was a professional athlete, and I'll tell you what, in the 90s, they were filming us. And in the 90s, they could tell we would have almost precognition-like reactions to stimulus, which would tell you that it wasn't chemistry in our body that was doing it, because it takes time for chemistry to occur. Mm-hmm. There was some other impulses that were happening, other information that was coming through our biofield anatomies that informed us to react before a stimulus. Mm-hmm. And you can look up countless. I mean, you go onto any professional pitcher coaching website and they'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. They probably have it for cricket. Anything where you're hitting something that's going really fast, somehow, some way, the body knows how to react. The body knows what's going to occur before it happens. Okay, these guys that are in squirrel suits that are like dive bombing the earth at 240 miles per hour, they're showing that their reactions, like the millisecond reactions that they're doing, is like impossible if you see our body as just as a sack of chemistry. So what these people are showing is that for 100 years, roughly, pretty much our biofield anatomy was being dissected and then re-agglomerated in a way that they could actually monetize it and sell it back to us. Mm. And if we didn't get it sold back to us, they would use it in any way any commodity is used. And just like we've seen very weird things happen on the commodities market with things like water ever since they made water a commodity. And now all of a sudden there was all these weird weather patterns ever since water has become a commodity that's exchanged. They're going to do that with us, with our physiology. When you look at the future of the blockchain and like everything that's going to this tokenized economy, it's all based on your biometrics, like all of it. So this chaos with money and the financial system and all this stuff, I think what they learned and what they said, like when the banks went direct, when they said, we're no longer tied to federal, we're no longer tied to you peons legislation. We're gonna do money our way. And then the very next year, the same year that, you know, the cooties hit everybody supposedly, you have that big dude for the IMF down in Argentina say, yeah, the problem with money is like people can use it when they want to. We want the type of money when they can only use it when we say they can use it. Well, that was him tipping the hat to the tokenized economy of where you're geofenced in a very specific area. Your credits can only be used in a certain way. That whole thing is the thing. Like it is the thing. Back in the day, they would say, follow the money. I'm like, don't follow the money, follow the tokens. And then you like look at the gamification of everything that's going on. Like, I don't know how it is over there in Europe, but like in the United States, you cannot watch anything without them talking about gambling or pharmaceuticals. It's one of the two. They're always folded into everything.
Yeah, in the UK, gambling is legal and always has been. It's not really a thing, so it's kind of ingrained into our culture. It's not like it's nothing new, and it's not really talked about widely. It's just something that people do. So that I don't think we have that. And in terms of like pharmaceutical advertisements, I don't watch television, so I don't know if that's happening. But it was never there for me growing up. It was never a thing when I did watch television where there would be advertisements trying to sell you drugs. This is like a uniquely American thing, because we have a private healthcare. A national health service. You have private healthcare. And there's incentive in your country for pharmaceutical companies to sell drugs or get doctors and practitioners to use their drugs, you know, and you get sales reps, don't you, going to doctors' practices in order to sell them a drug which they use on their patients, you know, and the rest of it. In the UK, because it's all done through the National Health Service and private practices are very rare, and even then private practices will still refer you to the National Health Service for specific things, you know. We don't pay for medicine, so there's no profit to be made other than for our governments to buy the product to use in the National Health Service en masse, you know. So I think it's just different for us here when it comes to that kind of thing. I think it is. It's just a very different situation. In terms of what you're saying there about the bio field, I've tried to listen to Sabrina Wallace before. I even listened to a guy try and break down what it is Sabrina Wallace is trying to say. And I'm not saying she's not an expert in her field and what she's talking about, because I'm listening to it. I'm like, a lot of it's going over my head. I'm like, what is she saying? This is like intense, detailed scientific stuff that I don't fully understand. And even now, me being completely technologically inept, I don't fully understand what the blockchain even is, or what cryptocurrency is. I don't know how do you mine for Bitcoin? What the hell does that mean? You know, I don't understand any of it. So when you're talking about, well, they're going to do that to people, I'm still like, I don't get it. What do you mean? Because this might be their plan, like what they would like to do to us, but there's nothing stopping people en masse just all rallying together in extreme numbers like the sands of the sea and just killing all the bastards trying to do this to us. How dumb do they think we are? You know,
people go where the incentives are. So if I ever want my employees to do something, I incentivize the direction that I want them to go. Especially as a company that does profit sharing. So if I want a certain thing, all I do is dangle the carrot in that direction. So the way you create a lot of chaos, and then you're the order that comes in off the chaos. I mean, I think I heard that somewhere. So you create all this chaos in the financial markets with legacy fiat, which is what's happening all around the world. You're talking about the equity leaving people. People feel very unstable financially, right?
Yeah.
So legacy fiat is problematic at this moment. What you do then is you incentivize, hey, we're going to have this US Treasury backed, token. We'll call it Trump coin. Trump coin comes on. We're going to triple your net worth of the numbers in your bank right now. We're going to triple that. Okay. If you go this way, dude, the level of adoption would be out of this world. Now, the reason why the blockchain, so what it's, I'll direct you to Chris Crutchfield, because Chris Crutchfield makes Sabrina Wallace digestible, because she was way over my head. And so I've since become friends with her this last 8 months. So I'm getting like a direct tutorial. But Chris is the one that can like simplify what she's talking about. And so have you ever heard of the researcher Alison McDowell?
I've not, no, sorry.
Okay, so Alison McDowell is the best person out there that I've seen that's been able to connect the blockchain to biometrics. So the first rule in economy is it has to grow. But how do you make things grow that have kind of stagnated, especially when you have a declining population? So in the non-BRICS countries, we have declining populations, right? You have the boomer generation in the United States holds $14 trillion worth of wealth. I think the boomers alone have more wealth than like 90 countries combined.
It's ridiculous. I remember the statistics on this. I think when it comes to like generational wealth, I think like Gen Z have like 3%. I think millennials have like 7%. Gen X have like 14%, and the boomers have everything else. Like
everything else.
Yeah, everything else. Yeah.
And it's amazing. It's amazing. So in that, okay, the push, the move is as soon as the boomers exit stage left,
20 years.
Well,
exactly.
If they're lucky.
Well, that's it. No, in 20 years there probably won't be any left. We're at that point now. That's where we are.
So when that occurs, that's going to be the changeover from legacy fiat to this new system. The way you keep the economy growing in a lower population is you create new markets. This is the whole reason why they have the fake space race. The fake space race is nothing but a fantasy economy. There's trillions of dollars put into fake space. Yes, it's a psyop and it serves that purpose, but the main thing it's doing is it's just this endless ocean of fake money can be created to go towards it.
Like AI as well? The bubble?
Absolutely.
Same
and
thing.
That's what Sabrina and Chris are really showing. Like all this stuff that people are talking about with these data centers, they don't need any of that. Like all those data centers, I wrote an article for my Substack where I was looking into some of the construction plans of these things. Paul, they're built to fail. They're literally built to be built and then, shit on themselves very quickly and die so that the government can then come in and create even more jobs cleaning up the mess.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Because the government is like any institution that is as large as it is. It's just there to grow. It's the blob. It's just there to keep consuming and growing and growing and growing. That's its only function. And so in that, what they're doing with our biometrics is they're making our biometrics the actual new market. So like we were talking earlier about the equity that's in real estate. So that equity that's in real estate, they would package up and create a security of like, say, A+ mortgages, A mortgages, B+, all these different mortgages of different classifications, and then sell that group of mortgages in a tranche to people. Well, they're going to do the same thing with our biometrics. They'll be like, okay, we have 10 million white guys that are between the age of 45 and 35 that their BMI, their body mass index is, let's just say it's, 16% over what it should be. They have a relative, life expectancy of this. They have, their blood pressure is this. We're going to tranche all those guys together and make a security about it to keep the market growing. The whole thing is, how do we take something that is inherently deflating just because in nature there are cycles? In nature, you never have constant growth. In nature, sometimes you have a deflationary period that we call fall and winter, and then you come into the spring and summer. It's very natural, but economies don't like that. Economies are like, no, full gas, 100% gas the entire time. Let's go. So they create lies. They just will go, oh, okay, we're going to do something that nobody can examine. We're going to go out into space and nobody can examine it. It doesn't matter if our claims never come true. Look, they don't even care if their politicians never, do what their campaign promises are. We'll just lie and create a market. We'll say that there's these little things that aren't alive, but they reproduce and they want to kill you. But yet in nature, there's really nothing out there that actually works on that function in the micro space. But we're going to tell them that because they can't examine that. We're going to lie. And they do that creating, I would say the biggest industries out there, Paul, are built on lies. And it's totally like the Little Season thing. It's like this, we're going to lie with a straight face. We're going to tell them the science backs this up. And we're going to create all this money for nothing because it's a massive market because we need constant growth.
Yeah. You know what it reminds me of? And I think maybe this is a lesson from nature that we can take solace in many ways. Because I think even like younger generations, like young millennials like myself or Gen Z, we just want to watch it burn because we're sick of it. Like, let the system collapse, because like I said, if it's all about constant growth, constant GDP, it always has to be going up every single year by another percentage point or something like this. And we'll do anything we can to make that number on that chart go up by another percent year on year. It has to be growth. If there's no growth, it's a recession, and that can't happen. So spend, and do ridiculous things and whatever we can to bloat the system and give the illusion of growth. And it's kind of, you said there's this pattern, isn't there? And if you think of like a forest fires are actually very extremely necessary, okay, in the process, because that's the chaff being burnt that fell off the trees, the bark, and that burn creates fertile ground for new things to grow. Biochar creates biochar. Okay, it creates carbon. That helps renew the environment and keeps growth going naturally through destruction and rebirth, destruction, rebirth. That cycle we see everywhere in nature. It's very common. It's very normal. Like I said, our system will not allow that to happen. But when you don't allow forest fires to burn and you constantly put them out before they can spread, you're only setting yourself up for an even bigger burn that's going to be completely destructive beyond comprehension, because that will ignite eventually. And all that chaff should have burnt away a long time ago. And I feel like these men who have these plans, are they not aware of the natural law that play here, that they're basically just setting themselves up to burn? Like, this is not going to work. It will collapse in on itself. Or is that the point? Are they trying to make it all? Do they know this? And they're like, that's fine. We'll rise our phoenix from those ashes one way or the other. Is that just are they just that confident in their own delusions, and their own power? Like, did they really think they have it all under control, even when it's chaos? I don't know. I'd think God's in control personally, not these people, but I'll give it to you.
I think incompetence, I mean, this is a very old philosophical saying that corruption breeds incompetence. And so I think a lot of people that strive for power positions, maybe their hunger for power matches their hunger for vice. And maybe the combination of those two things doesn't lead to being clear-headed about decisions. I'm just becoming aware of politics here in Missouri and the Midwest. And it's always a twofer. And what I mean by that is they always have to take the good with a poison pill to get any headway, because the level of corruption on a corporate level is so ingrained that there's never 100% God spark of like, this is pure virtue when you're dealing with these institutions.
Yeah, it's
there
funny.
Isn't.
Well, this is something I've talked about on my channel a couple of times, but really I got this from Connor, who runs a channel called The Cult of Con, and he did this great podcast like a year ago, and he called it "This Ain't Your Granddaddy's Deep State." That was the title of it, okay? And honestly, you should just go listen to him talk about it, because I can't do it justice, to be honest, on the Cult of Con channel. Just go back in his like live section, and it was there eventually, and you'll see it, you know. And he makes an excellent point that, generationally speaking, the members of secret societies today are not like the originals who established themselves in the mid-1700s.
Right.
Just before the Industrial Revolution and the rest of
They're
it.
not Renaissance men.
They're not of the same caliber. Like,
No.
not even close.
No.
Because even those men then were living in the shit. Like,
Yes.
there was the medical advancements we have today were not there then. If you broke your leg, it was a death sentence. Your teeth would rot and it would be painful, and there was nothing that could be done about it other than pulling them out and be done with them. You know what I mean? Even the rich had to deal with that. You know what I mean? Like, they had to be in the factories whipping the slaves to do the work. You know what I mean? They had to be there in the ground with everybody, building that great work they so call, building that pyramid one brick at a time. And they knew they'd never see it in their lifetime. It's the great work that the Freemasons are building towards, you know what I mean? To get that capstone on that pyramid, to bring in the new age of Lucifer and the rest of it, you know? And they know their role to play is one that's just beginning. They're laying foundations, you know? And they were a different breed of people. They were intelligent. They were patient. They didn't rush. They never overplayed their hand. They understood their place in the larger picture, and they didn't overstep, okay? Fast forward to today, we've got the children of the previous generation running around like cocained up to the nines, having sex with prostitutes, blowing their inheritance, well, just spending daddy's money on everything, on fast cars and the rest of it, you know? And these are the people that are supposed to take over from their father in the secret society's legacy to continue the great work. And in a sense, they became a victim of their own success. They became so powerful, so rich, controlled everything, to the point where the overindulgence of it all has destroyed their minds and their children's minds and made them corrupt beyond to the point of incompetence. And now it's kind of the people who are taking over aren't patient. They keep making mistakes. They keep overplaying their hand and revealing themselves too much. They're cocky. They're overconfident. They want to see it in their lifetime. They're not willing to sacrifice for the great work anymore. They want to push things forward quicker. You know what I mean? They are changing things, innovating in ways that go beyond what they should have been doing and sticking to the plan. And it's just become this absolute mess. And we look back at the history of secret societies and how they controlled everything, how the orphaned children, if you want to go down that route, you know what I mean, and how they rewrote history and how they put their actors everywhere and how they created this Masonic theater. And we like to still imagine that they're still like that. They're still doing that today. What if they're not? What if they're just idiots now? Like, do you know what I mean? Like inbred lunatics who are just drunk on power to the point of stupidity and cockiness and pride, and that will be their undoing. Like, it's kind of like these men had plans, and God laughs. When these first men said, we will rise above the throne of God and become the gods of this earth under Lucifer, God looked at that and said, "All right, give it a go," because he knew where it was going. You know, he's kind of like, you're gonna have to watch your grandchildren squander everything you worked for. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of that's going to be the big joke at the end of it all, because that's how that's just how he rolls. You know, I'm wondering if that's true.
I saw this down in Costa Rica. We used to call all those rich kids that would come down, we called them Trustafarians. And they would literally come down and waste all of their dad's hard-earned money. And like when I say waste, I mean a waste. They usually didn't have like a lick of work ethic at all, so they would hire people like me. And they had more money than you could shake a stick at, which is kind of cool, because if you're an artist, you always want to be employed by people like that. And my goodness, because you're an artist, Paul, you know how it is. Like some commissions, like you can't tell them how much it's going to cost, because you're putting your heart and your soul into it. So like to have people that have more money than sense is sometimes a good thing. But it was so well known. They would come down, kick it for a few months out of the year. The second any strife happened at all, like the rains came or earthquakes, they were gone. And I would be fielding new Trustafarians coming down, and they'd always say the same thing. I want to build a spiritual retreat center. And I was like, you don't need to build one. There's like 7 of them right down the street. I can take you to them. They're like, oh no, I want my own thing. I'm like, no, literally, like there's good stuff. Like it's already done. The people left. Like, let's go. No, I want to leave my own mark. You know, it was so funny, but literally like no vision, no nothing. They all had the same business plan. And all of us builders, we just laughed because we're like,
I mean, that's a very good example. And I think the Nepo baby problem is on public display as well. Look at like Hunter Biden, for example.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like just look into what that guy's up to, you know what I mean? Like, and someone here left a comment in Other News Radio. It's like the older management that are still around the wildling offspring are trying to hold it together. They're trying to like, still see this through. I think the boomer generation, who is still knocking around, I think they are like, we're on the cusp of living forever and not dying here, and you're all gonna blow it with this AI nonsense. Will you just stop pushing all this crazy stuff? And it's kind of, I feel like we can see like the chaos even in their own plan unfolding here, and I think they're making up as they go along half the time now. So I don't think even they foresaw the technology as it is, or what the internet would do, or any of this stuff. You know what I mean? I think they were always a little bit blinded by their own hubris. They always thought they had a grip on things, no matter what happened. And I think the internet really screwed them up. I think more than they even than they could have possibly known. Like, I really do think so. Like, I don't think they foresaw the consequences of giving the goyim the internet. You know what I mean? I really don't think they thought we were smart enough to do what we did with it and to turn it into what it is. I think we give them too much credit sometimes. Like, oh, they're always 20 steps ahead and their technology is 20 years ahead of what we have. Maybe. That doesn't mean they don't mess up every now and then and accidentally give us the technology without realizing that we were going to use it for our own purposes. You know what I mean? I think that a good message of hope is like, they're not actually in control. God is, fundamentally. Like, these people play at God. They use earthly means, physical things, objects and money and power, things which God made to try and be like God. You know what I mean? Like, that's all they can do. They're like great pretenders. They are not actually in control and don't have any authority. They just say they do, and we give it to them and believe them. And I think it's falling apart. I think they're actually panicking a little bit. I think that's why they're trying to rush forward the stupid alien invasion agenda and all the rest of it. Like, I think even
they have to do
realize
that before the boomers go, because once the boomers go, that card has been played. The
well, you saw
boomers
Steven Spielberg, right? You saw the new movie, Disclosure Day, And the reviews
Horrible.
were in it. It's like, this is just a relic of a boomer generation. Like, this movie was made for boomers. Nobody like cares about any of these tropes anymore. This is such like this is like an early 2090s movie at best. It's kind of, everyone's moved on from all these cliches. It's so terrible. And like, I keep saying, look, they've missed their window for the fake alien invasion. They spent billions on this. They propagandized us for 100 years through sci-fi. You know what I mean? And they've sold this idea that aliens are going to turn up and we're going to travel the stars. And they missed their window, I think, in like 2011 to 2015. They should have done it then. If they did it then, everyone would have bought it and it would have worked.
Yes.
Right, but they've waited too long, they've missed their window, and now everyone's like, I don't give a shit about aliens, I've got bills to pay, shut up. You know what I mean? Everyone's over it. Like, everyone is over it. It's like, yeah, I still got to go to work tomorrow if aliens turn up. I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's done. They missed it. They
Totally missed it.
Trillions wasted. Trillions of dollars of propaganda wasted. I think that's what happened there. I do.
The fact that they show booster rockets in reverse, saying that they're landing, that might be the worst. Like the level, like you were talking about earlier, where like the old timers, like the gritty Renaissance. You know, why can't we get those gritty Renaissance, Freemasons back? Because now to believe them actually just showing a rocket, playing the clip backwards, is it a rocket actually landing? Is so bad. I mean, it is such an assault on any level of intelligence. I mean, it's so bad, Paul. I'm with you. I think they should have had the alien invasion after the movie Independence Day. That was their pinnacle right there.
They were at their peak already. They were peaking in that period of time, and they blew it. Anyway, on that note, another quick break, then we'll get back, and then we'll close this show for the last 15 minutes. So just bear with me, guys. I'm going to play another advert for you, and I'll be back in a couple of minutes. So just bear with me.
At first, I just thought people couldn't financially justify hiring a clown anymore, you know? Then I started blaming the media for portraying my people as bloodthirsty murderers, cult members, or man-eating space aliens. Of course, the 2016 clown sightings didn't help. Ronald was the first to go. They just took him away. And we stayed silent. Because that's when the book appeared. What new form of clown bigotry was this, I thought? Hadn't my people suffered enough? My clown act was failing because people just weren't taking it seriously. And once they fired me from the circus, I tried suing them for funfair dismissal. My unicycle rusted, and my balls gathered dust. I used to make kids scream with laughter, you know. So much that I could see the tears of joy running down their faces. And then it just stopped. I was so upset that I started eating the banana cream pies instead of throwing them in people's faces. I gained so much weight that summer. I avoided it for a while, but the book's front cover was just so eye-catching, and it was so readily available on Amazon, that I gave in and finally read the thing. I didn't even know what the Nephilim were. Luckily, the author spent the first half of the book concisely explaining the biblical history to me in an easy-to-understand manner, so that wasn't really a problem for long. That's when I read the rest of the book and realized that being a clown is no joke.
Okay, and we are back. There we go. Right, thanks for that, guys. So we got Chris for another 10 minutes. He has to go, and that'll be a good 2-hour show for us tonight. Rounded off. We've done well. It's been a good show. I've enjoyed this conversation. How have you felt about this one?
I love it, man. I love talking to you because you're so eloquent. You have these little phrases and turns of phrase that when you say them, I'm like, God, that's so good. Like I'm
Stop.
somebody
Stop.
I'm somebody that really appreciates eloquence, and you have it in spades.
Thank you. It's funny. I was on with Dark Waters channel. I think you mentioned it
Yes.
to me, and he described me as like a James Bond like British character as he was like describing. I was like, James Bond, eh? I'll take that one. I don't think I'm. I don't know. I don't know. But something about you Americans, you're just a sucker for a British accent, aren't you?
I know I am. If
don't
I
know
had
what
a
it is.
British accent, I would be able to manipulate my wife so well. She hears anything in a British accent, she's like, "Oh, okay. Like, what's going on?"
The thing is, in the UK, I actually have one of the worst accents. Like, I'm like, maybe not me, because I'm for where I am, I'm quite well pronounced. I guess you call it a metropolitan accent. Like, I you can't really pinpoint me too easily, but I'm definitely what we call northern. I have a northern British accent. And the general consensus in England is people from the south are posh, people from the north are rough. That's kind of the poor people are in the north, the working class coal miners and all the rest of it, you know what I mean? And just the working class rough accent, broad, can barely understand what they're saying type accents are in the north, and then the posh, rich countryside people and the middle classes are all in the south. And they speak with like a Cockney or a Southern accent, Queen's English stuff. I don't. I'm in the north. I'm in the northwest. I'm in a cold, drab, old cotton mill city, like, you know what I mean, working class city through and through, and by the docks, you know what I mean. It's like we just and I've got this rough accent, which in the UK no one cares about and thinks sounds weird. It's kind of like, ugh. Where are you from? Even when I went to Oxford to visit a friend who went to the university there, who was from where I'm from. I was talking to someone at the party, and he was like, "Where are you from?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm from Preston." He was like, "Oh dear." He looked down on me physically for being from the north. I could tell, like, and they really do. It really is like that. Like, the class divide is strong, and accent plays a huge role. So for you Americans who don't know any of that, you're all suckers. You have no idea.
I know I'm a sucker. Like, literally, I could listen to David Attenborough forever. Like, it's pronunciation. So always being subjected to Latin culture and Latin communication patterns. I could tell my Prussian English roots because I could listen to German, High German and Low German, and actually like follow it because of the pronunciations on consonants. Whereas the Latin languages, they emphasize vowel sounds more.
Yeah.
So I can't stand that. Like, literally, it's like I go deaf when I'm around, people talking in any of the Latin languages, but around good English and good German, I'm like, my genetics start to hit. I'm like, oh, I'm back home. Yeah, this is great.
Yeah. Well, if you say you have Welsh heritage as well,
yes.
Well, I'm near the border of Wales. It's not bad. They have a very soft accent. They have a nice accent. It's very unique, very unique. And obviously they've got the Welsh language as well. Is it Gaelic? What is it they speak in Wales? That's
I don't know.
I don't know. The Welsh have their own language, and it's very unique. It's very odd. It's very strange. And it sounds almost magical when you hear them speak it. Honestly, it's so weird. And like, for England or the UK, the British Isles, to have so many varying dialects and languages in just such a small space is very, very strange indeed. And I don't know what's going on with that. But anyway, let's talk about something more. Close this out with something a bit more, let's just close the show.
Okay.
What are you working on, and where can people find your work right now? Like, is there anything in particular, like, you want people to go and see? Have you been talking to anyone in particular lately? I saw you were on the Digital Hour podcast.
I think I've been on a bunch. Like, I'm thinking of the next, like, quote unquote big one I'm on. I forget his name because Owen introduced me to him. I've never listened to him.
You need to introduce me to Owen, by the way.
I've tried.
He doesn't
Owen
want anything to do with me. Fair enough.
No. He literally, it usually takes about a year and a half when I suggest something to him before it like materializes. So this year we had our Elementals Festival, and I was so stoked that he let us have it, because I wasn't like really expecting him to offer the space, and it crushed. Like, we did so well. And so now that he saw like my cohort of podcast guests like in one space, and he got to rap with everybody, I think he's more open to it. Like, he got to meet like Andy Kaufman, Sabrina Wallace, Eileen McCusick, like all the people I have on my podcast. And he loved it. Like, he did great. So I can understand his defensiveness in certain situations, because he really was like, browbeaten, with all the COVID stuff. But the things I'm most excited about is really my company, like my biochar company. I'm really working hard on making sure that our products for next year are what we've designed them to be, the packaging, like all the things that go into being a producer of anything. It takes a lot of time and effort that a lot of people don't actually see. But it's fun for me, because I've always felt like I've been a problem solver, and this is solving a massive problem. And it's the first thing I think I've ever produced, other than like building and massaging and stuff like that, but something I could sell like as like a standalone product, that I've ever felt 100% it's a win-win-win. Everybody wins. There's like, in my younger life, I didn't think that there was anything out there like that. All the things that could make money, I saw as being a detriment somehow. So I chose to be in the service-based economy, not the product-based economy. And so now this is like a massive change for me. Now I'm actually producing products. And so for me, it's like, oh, it's just a shift frame of reference and things like that. And then kind of understand how things are working on a political, like on a more political level for me. That's exciting to actually understand, because that was something I had, as an idealist, I had been very, very judgmental and like standoffish with all those things. Now I think we're getting to the point where, like what we were saying, is like the silent generation is all but gone. The boomers are on their way out. I'm Gen X. And like, so there has to be somebody that's willing to like kind of lean into a leadership role. And so for me, I'm excited about that with my company, with trying to help the policymakers make better policy. Because the problem with policy as of late is that all the money wasn't there for our best interests. So hopefully moving forward, the more I learn in that venue, I could be an agent for the better, for positivity.
Well, I think the best thing to do is start with local government. I think that is the best way to start, because I think local are not as corrupt as the higher ups. And I think a lot of them may not even know that that's even the case, because they'll never get into that level to see just how corrupt it can get. But if you can get enough local governments to get on board with this soon, then it's not something they can just suddenly squash or remove or get rid of. It's something that's public knowledge by that point and already well ingrained and used within certain communities. So I think you're doing it right. I think it is, and I wish you all the best on that endeavor. I really do. I've linked your linked your website down below, where people can buy biochar from you. Is that like the best place for them to go right now with dealing with this? Were you current that with your business, or is there any other place you think they should go first?
blackgoldbiochar.com. If you want to know anything about the theory behind all this stuff, you could go to my Substack, which is just biocharisma.substack.com, I think it is. I write a lot on there. I've gotten back into writing, which I love to write. And so, you're an excellent author. So I don't know if you actually enjoy writing, but for me, it is a joy to write. I can't say I'm any good, but I enjoy doing it.
I have moments where I get into it and I'm enjoying it. There's other moments where it's like, I just need to get this done. It has its ups and downs. Writing is a journey. It's a labor of love always. Yeah. But yeah, I know you have to send me across anything you've written, and I'll have a quick read through when I get a chance.
Are you on Substack?
I'm not on Substack. No, I might be somewhere I should probably get onto, to be honest. I'm
you
not really
would
much
do
of a
awesome.
blogger. You think?
You would do awesome there, because it's not only blog, you could put your pods on there. I have to say, out of all the venues I've ever had, like online, whether it's Instagram, YouTube, or whatever, there's something about the usability of Substack that is so incredibly easy as a content creator that I'm just ingratiated to it. I just want to use it. Like I'm not good with computers. So like for me, it's such an easily formattable thing that I'm just like, oh, I'll just put it here. And it populates everything else. I'm like, oh, this is great.
Right. I'm gonna have to look into it and see what's going on. I'm trying my best to diversify where I am.
Substack's great then.
Yeah. I'm on Patreon. I have 3 channels now on YouTube. I tried the whole Rumble thing and other video. But they're no good. The interfaces are terrible. Like they're all awful. There's no one's on them. No one's watching anything anywhere else. Right. So it's tough. And I don't have a website because I just don't feel. I don't know, for what I do. I just don't feel like it's kind of like necessarily. You know, I have music on Spotify, but I think Substack might be the next thing I'm going to have to look into, to be honest, because this world is changing, especially the conspiracy world. And I think. With the censorship that's coming down the pipeline, or there are attempts at it as well, I think it would be wise not to have your eggs in one basket necessarily, you know. And maybe I'll start my own company. You can help me out. You've got your own company. I'll start the Understanding Conspiracy, a company where we can all get together and become one like entity in our own right, where we get to share the good news, whether that's Jesus Christ or biochar. We'll share it either way.
That'd be awesome.
That's the aim, isn't it? That's the aim. Anyway, I know you've got to go. We're over the mark now, but thanks for doing this. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure, Paul. It was great to catch up.
Absolutely. Right. God bless. Take it easy.
God bless. Bye-bye.
There we go, guys. We'll end that meeting. I'll quickly switch back to me. Oh, wasn't that great? Yeah, Christoper Gardner. The man's a genius. He's a visionary. Like, if you listen to his backstory of how he started with his own architecture company as well, and he's one of those people who's kind of, when he does something, he does it like 100%. There's no ifs or buts about it. Like, he was hired to build a specific type of house, which is earthquake proof, stays cool in the heat. And there's a very specific type of architectural style that you have to use to do this. And he went to the school where you learn this stuff, and he was asking his teachers for everything. And they looked at him and was like, oh, you're actually serious about this? He's like, yeah, I need to go and build this thing. I need to learn how to do it. So I'm here to learn how to do it. You know, I'm paying to. And even the teachers there were like, no one's ever like this with this course. No one ever takes it seriously. So he was kind of mentored by them to build these very uniquely shaped houses, and then slowly he's developed that into these domes he builds using a very specific Japanese star tetrahedron style kind of like system of bending metal. And from then, you know, he's had these other side projects where he creates this biochar, which is basically black gold. It makes soil like 20 times more productive, like ridiculously more productive, you know, and it's basically curing illnesses and changing environments to be more healthy. And he's like, when he has a vision and he's got a task and he does it, it just comes true. He's one of those type of people. So he's very much an inspiration. So go check out his work. His link's down below. You can find his website, but also if you click his name in the video title, at BioCharisma, subscribe to his YouTube as well. He does a flurry of podcast visits. He's kind of a known within like the truth community, and it's always a pleasure to have him on the channel. So thanks for being here, guys. Thanks for that. Just to close out the show, if you want to support me and what I do, you can always buy yourself a copy of The Nephilim Look Like Clowns. You saw many adverts throughout this one as I was finagling the technology to get it to be as seamless as possible. Yeah, buy yourself a book, buy yourself an audiobook. That really helps me. Or please consider becoming a patron. Lots of extra stuff on there, which is not on YouTube. You won't find anywhere else. And who knows? Maybe Substack soon. We'll see, eh? We'll see. And another one as well. If anyone does want to help me and my family get a home that we can actually live in and fit in, that is currently something I am openly asking for help with. If anyone wants to contribute towards helping me get the deposit I need to buy a family home, please consider donating to my PayPal as well. The link is down below. Only if you can, of course. I'm going to do it myself regardless, but any help at all, I will take. Like, I do need help. So if anyone wants to support me, there's many ways you can do that. But make sure to go and support Chris, of course, and his endeavor. At the very least, subscribe to his channel and watch his videos and give him a thumbs up and a like. But I'm going to leave it there, guys. Thanks for listening. I'll be back in the week with more videos. Please make sure to subscribe to the second channel, UnderstandingConspiracy Clips, as a backup. You will find clips of this, shorter clips of this show being released on there over the next few days. So there we go, guys. I'll leave it there. Thanks for listening. And as always, God bless.